Welcome back to Marveled Media Podcast, where we talk about all things media, especially Marvel. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Alex and Josh.
And welcome to episode 10 of Marvel Talk. Today we'll be discussing episode 3 of Moon Knight, which currently is available to stream on Disney+. So if you haven't done so already, please make sure to go watch it before you watch this video, as this will contain spoilers from the episode.
All right, just to start us off, this episode 3 was solid. And we got a great balance of action and also just character building, especially with Marc. And we still got a mix of Steven, and then also that little tease of potential Jake appearing in. But Blake, I would love to hear what you said, because as soon as you watched it, you literally texted us saying Moon Knight was so fucking good. So I'm curious what you have to say.
Oh, yeah. I was hyped because, there is definitely a third identity. We'd assume it would be Jake Lockley. I doubt that they'd, switch up the name at least, because they have been switching, because in the comics, Stephen Strange is a rich millionaire, and like I said, they copied Batman for Moon Knight. Yeah. So Mark Spector was the mercenary with the fighting skills, and then Stephen Grant was a rich millionaire or billionaire. So I'm interested that it seems like Jake is the most brutal of the three identities, which is weird because in the comics he's a New York cab driver who basically just gets intel off the streets. But I guess they're going the route that he's the most aggressive.
I thought that was weird too, because Marc was stunned by the violence. I'm Marc is stunned right now? I don't know. It kind of didn't make sense to me either.
The same, yeah.
Of there's this third personality, and then Jake, what I saw, it's just like you said, a taxi driver, and then somehow he's being so brutal that both Steven and Marc are blaming each other and going at each other saying, why did you do that? I'm I didn't do that. So yeah, I agree with you on that point of
it was kind of weird that, especially because it makes me wonder if he was the one who was doing stuff in the first episode, when he was in where was he? It wasn't Germany, was it?
No, it was Switzerland.
Switzerland, yeah. It makes me wonder if that was Jake or Marc who to get it back. But it would make sense if it was Marc at that point. But those were really brutal kills. At least it seemed to be. Obviously, we saw the blood everywhere. We didn't actually see them happening. So I wonder if that was Marc, but then all of a sudden Marc now is not into the brutality. So that kind of made me wonder, was that Jake? But why weren't they questioning back then? So I don't know, but I mean, like you said, the episode had a great balance, which is why I liked it so much, as the action and the actual character development. We got more from Marc's wife, Layla, which it seems like they're basically just taking, I forgot what her name in the comics is, but in the comics, his love interest, her dad was a archaeologist who went on the dig sites and stuff, but I guess they switched her name to Layla. I'm assuming part of that is diversity, because in the comics, I don't remember her name, but she's just a blonde white girl. So I'm assuming they just switched Layla and gave her more of an Egyptian background just to get a little bit more diversity, because I know the director's talked about how he's trying to do more, which obviously he did with making Egypt look better than the basic generic.
Oh yeah, for the
Hollywood
first time
look.
ever, making
exactly.
a modern city in Middle East not look like it's just pure trash.
Just desert.
What
and
it
just
actually
and
looks
just,
like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm assuming
with a yellow tint.
Yeah.
Anywhere that's not America or Europe, bro, you got the little tint there.
So I'm guessing that's why but it seems like they're keeping the same backstory of her dad was an archaeologist, and they hinted at he was probably one of those people killed that Marc, or even could have been Jake, killed of those 6 archaeologists, which I'm assuming we'll get more of. But yeah, no, I just love the balance. I actually laughed in that opening fight scene on the roof where he notices it's a kid, and he goes from punching and then just switches to an open hand Will Smith slap. Yeah. I openly laughed at that part. I thought it was so funny for some reason. But yeah, no, I loved it.
Yeah, it started off good. It towards the middle, you can say that it kind of slowed down a little bit, when they were on the boat. But honestly, it was much needed, because you finally got to catch up with Marc and Layla. and like their relationship and kind of like where it's at and what happened. And you can tell that, you know, Marc is still kind of holding back. He's not very good with sharing his feelings. As you can see, he's like the whole entire time he was trying to dodge the question. You know, I think like the whole thing where it's like it kind of slows down a little bit, it's kind of needed, especially with like a character like this, where it's, you know, it's not really one character. It's honestly like multiple different characters. Like you guys mentioned, there's a possibility of a third alter. There's also Konshu. There has to be time in a show like this, especially when like the episodes are pretty well, you know, like long. They're like 40 to 50 minutes long. So, you know, you do have to use a good amount of that to kind of set up characters and, you know, introduce new ones like we got to on this episode. But once Moon Knight appears, like when he shows up at the top where he's like, where did he go? And he just shows up and like, damn, that's badass. The shot where like it kind of pans up and you just see him and he just lands his cape when he like jumps down and creates like the crescent moon. Yeah, dude, that's dope. And then that whole fight where he's fighting them, he's like absolutely demolishing them. I think he kicks one of the guy's like knees in, and he like then he goes to almost like choke somebody, and then Steven, of course, shows up and takes over the body for like 3 seconds. He's like, chill the F out. Chill out. Let's talk about this. And he proceeds to get stabbed like 2 seconds later. He's like, you know what? Take the body back.
Take the body back. And that was by far one of the funniest moments of the show. It's just the voice acting too by Oscar Isaac, just Steven's voice. Like, take it back, Marc. I regret it. My bad.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was hilarious. I can definitely tell like they really put a lot of effort and time into the writing and the whole show. It's honestly, we're halfway through this show, and so far it's exceeding all of the previous ones by far. Honestly, it's been the most consistent so far. Now, absolutely, they could fumble it, but I mean, so far they've gone better and better each episode. So I just don't see how they can actually like flop this.
Another thing I liked about that fighting scene was like how brutal they showed his healing ability is. Like they went far showing that. I didn't think they were actually going to go that far. I mean, he literally was impaled like 6 times and then he was just taking it. So I thought that was kind of cool how they're staying true to the character, because that's his fighting style. He just takes the hits, doesn't care how much damage is done to him, and he'll just keep fighting.
Yeah, that's a good point that they actually, you know, showed us that. And he basically had like almost like Wolverine healing abilities. He was just fine right after. I thought it was really cool when at the beginning when Layla like ran to him and he like brought the cape like kind of around her and all the bullets hit, and then he just like spun and threw all the bullets right back at the guys. I thought that was, I don't know if maybe that is something he's done in the comics. Like we don't have the most Moon Knight comic background, but I thought that was a dope shot. Like I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, so Layla I thought was pretty great in this episode. I'm actually really liking her as the main love interest. I have seen some people wondering if it's going to be a love triangle between her, Marc, and Steven. After Loki, him falling in love with his own variant, anything's open with Marvel. So if they did a love triangle with that, I think that'd be a bit weird. I don't think Disney would probably approve of it because, I mean, I don't know. It's a bit weird to fall in love with somebody else's, like, I don't know, because he has a disorder. So I don't know. I think it'd be a bit odd if they did do that. I feel like he'll probably just, become like besties with her and kind of like a new friend. And then like Steven will help Marc, get back with his marriage. But I thought that was funny, the idea of there being a love triangle between the three.
Yeah, dude, that like Oscar Isaac's acting is insane. Like
the switch.
Yeah. Right. And it didn't even require like the whole like, the editing where he like kind of passes out and he comes back.
Phases out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was an instant switch.
Yeah, it was an instant switch where he like ripped off the mirror off the car. He didn't have to do that, but he did it anyway. He took the stuff. He's like, all right, go ahead. And he looks at it, and then all of a sudden you see his like facial expressions just change, and obviously his accent, his whole like mannerisms, just completely different character, pretty much.
Yeah, and the accent has gotten better over the show. Like, I know how we mentioned it kind of was like bothering in the first episode, but now I'm totally fine with it, especially after seeing that switch. It was just perfect and clear, saying, okay, this is Steven now, and now we got Steven's characteristics going on. Also, I hope from that mirror scene where Marc kind of like lets up and allows Steven to take over, and he's constantly scared that Steven's not going to give him his body back. But so hopefully maybe there's some trust building between the two, especially once they potentially find out who the third person is. Which going off
Jake
the
gonna
third,
fuck it all up.
Yeah. Well, going off the third person though, now it makes me question like some scenes that we've seen, because like Marc, like we've seen in this episode, he's not as brutal as I thought he was going to be. Like he was holding back in a lot of the fights of not trying to kill people. So then you remember when we first saw Ethan Hawke, Moon Knight came in, we saw the switch, and then all those guys were brutally killed. And I'm like, now I'm wondering, was that actually Marc in that scene right there or not? So I don't know. It's kind of just making me questioning some scenes we've seen and wondering, was that actually Steven or Marc in that scenario? Because, you know, they were in a heat of the moment, so neither one of them probably questioned it.
Right.
But now, I don't know. They might have been hinting at it.
Especially because we didn't hear Marc's perspective and all that stuff. Yeah. That first episode, it was switching from Steven back to Steven.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know, like, we never heard if that easily could have been Jake that entire time, who was the one turning into, you know, killing the people, shooting the people, doing all that stuff. So, yeah, no, I definitely think that it's going to be interesting to try to tell who is in control or was in control, and I think that's probably going to be a big part of this next episode.
It seems to be hinting also that like Jake might be coming out when Marc or Steven takes like a really brutal hit to where they get knocked out. So maybe that's when Jake comes in.
Right, like he's the most aggressive, like when he thinks like this is the biggest issue or like the biggest thing going on, he's like, yeah, you're too weak. Like I'm saving us. Like get out of my way. Like,
and remember the date too that he had the steak dinner.
That was
date?
Jake, right? That was Jake.
Yeah, I mean that right now this almost confirms it Jake because Marc has no interest for that. So I don't know.
I'm wondering what this next episode is going to be, because I don't think he doesn't have the powers of Konshu anymore, right? Is that what you guys' thoughts are?
I'm assuming that's how it would be. I mean, he got knocked out there. I mean, I don't know.
Because, like, he lost the suit as Konshu was getting turned to getting turned to stone, but I forgot exactly what that whole thing's called.
But Konshu was saying, like, you know, tell Marc basically to save me. Like, that was his plan. So I assume that Marc will have some ability and not just be a normal man.
Right, because what's his name? Ethan Hawke's character, Arthur, has a little bit of power from Amit, even though Amit's in that stone form technically. But his power comes more from the staff that was passed down from Amit's first avatar since then. So I think he doesn't have the abilities of anything Konshu anymore. And I don't think he'll even be able to hear Konshu anymore. I think that's gone. So I think this next episode is going to be potentially something more along the lines of them trying to figure out how to get Konshu back because they need the power, as well as this whole there's a third personality. They need to figure it out. And I think that's where we could see Arthur take advantage of him and get him locked up in a mental something. Because Arthur has been showing that he has issues. And he's been, you know, like in the tomb when they all got summoned, he was mentioning like this man is broken. And he even said, we don't even know how many are in you, which was another hint at the audience, we don't know. So I'm assuming they're going to go this next episode. Arthur potentially might get him locked up in some kind of mental institution when he has no powers.
That scene we were talking about when Arthur was saying, like, this man is broken. I like the parallels between Konshu and Marc's personality. I mean, they're both almost the same, like, outcast from their family and friends. They both think that they are doing the right thing to protect their said family and friends at the cost of their personal relationship with their peers. So
Right.
I love the parallels with this episode. Really emphasize that, and also the fact that they are ass at communicating. I mean, Konshu fumbled the bag in front of the other gods and was showing up, and he got aggressive when he couldn't properly communicate his issues. The same thing that Marc does when it comes to talking to Steven when he gets frustrated, and even Layla.
I mean, the gods are stupid. They're so stupid. Like, none of you could be like, hey, why don't we look? You think something's going on? Where? Oh, he has an entire fucking army of people out in Egypt. Yeah, he's probably up to something. But the gods are just like, nah, you don't have proof, so no. It's like, aren't you fucking gods? Can't you, like, look around the earth and tie a tiny bit of effort into this?
Yeah,
so, like,
it was a bit of an annoying part.
I was like,
what
are we talking about? Aren't these, like, powerful Egyptian gods and shit? Like, I hope Amit comes back and kills you all. You deserve it. Get turned to stone. Fuck off. I want Amit's and Arthur's side now.
Yeah. So what are you guys' thoughts on, like, did he turn back time, or was that kind of just like
No.
projection?
He just turned the sky.
No, he was just changing the sky to review. He was like just messing with the view.
It was just like when he made that solar eclipse earlier to like talk to all the gods. It was just solely changing the sky. It doesn't change time.
Which, man, bro, the MCU Civilians, you know, just casually on a Wednesday, you're just staring up and you see the sky changing. You
it's the middle of the day. You're like, there's a solar eclipse right now?
Man,
what the
I gotta still go to my 8 a.m. tomorrow? Come on, bro. Do you not just see that?
You're looking at night and they're just seeing all the stars. Like, is Doctor Strange doing some more multiverse shit? What is happening right now?
Yeah.
I thought we stopped this, man.
I thought the Avengers died. Fuck off. I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
Yeah, that'd be a new Avengers are probably like, huh, that seems important. Oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah, we're kind of getting to that territory now where it's a struggle to have these solo shows and solo movies doing these big grand things and trying to combine it at the same time with the MCU timeline. You kind of just got to look past it for it to roll together, and is what it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like the head writer was like, he wasn't sure when this show would come out, so they didn't really specify when it takes place. So that's why when it comes to like telling time or what day it is or whatever, they're very vague about it.
Yeah, imagine if this happened in like around the same time Eternals was happening. I mean, MCU civilians are just done with life at this point,
Oh,
you got this big ass robot coming out of the fucking earth. And then the sky is changing. Like, you can't even have a peaceful night anymore.
It's a great night for, star watching. You just get to
point,
look outside and be like, oh, look, it's the entire past, 2,000 years what the sky's done. How cool is this?
If I'm an MCU civilian, I'm investing all my money in SpaceX and trying to get to Mars as soon as possible. Just get the fuck out of here.
I don't want to be here anymore. Get me off the planet. Hey, next time Captain Marvel's down, can she give me a ride somewhere else? Cause
for real.
I'm done. Earth, I'm not here anymore. You guys have lost control.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that night scene, I liked how Konshu kind of I'm looking for the word here. He kind of opened up when he said that he remembers every night. When he kind of said that in like a sad tone. I was like, what do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, the character development in this episode was great because, I mean, they were literally, like you said, there's so many characters, especially with the different personalities of Moon Knight himself. But then you also got Konshu. That's not in every scene that they got to develop his character. And now you introduced all the gods and his relationship with the gods.
Not all of them, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
They only did 5 total out of the 9, I think, that are in the Ennead. But yeah, no, I thought that was his delivery on I remember every night. I remember when I saw that too, and I was like, interesting. He seems sad about that because, at the end of the day, it's understanding. If you understand Konshu, where he's coming from, he's been kicked out in basically a mockery to the other gods because he feels like they need to watch over Earth more. Which, again, the other gods are taking the Eternals route of oh, we don't interfere. We don't interfere with humans, blah, blah. And Konshu's like, no, fuck off.
Yeah, it's the humans stopped believing in us. So we're just now side characters that might intervene, maybe, but probably will never will.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was interesting that they have that thought, which was also Apocalypse thought in the X-Men, who was played by Oscar Isaac. Now Oscar Isaac is back in Egypt with gods saying, these people forgot about us, we need to remind them.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, overall, like I said, I just love that episode. So good.
Yeah, it's probably the best episode so far. Real quick, just because I finally found it, the actor who passed away, he was playing the character Anton Bogart, who goes on to be Midnight Man. Apparently, he's a one of Moon Knight's like villains, I guess. He got the name Midnight Man from stealing great works of art, jewelry, and other luxury items in the middle of the night. So that was his villain name, I guess, was Midnight Man. But yeah, unfortunately, he passed away. So that sucks.
Right, especially because it looked like there was something with him and Layla, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, you guys have any quick thoughts on Arthur Harrow? Because I feel like we haven't talked too much about him from this episode.
Well, I was just saying, like, he has a bigger plan than like I thought he did. I mean, he already had a connection. I don't remember the god's name, but the guy that looked like a classic businessman.
Oh, that was the main one, yeah.
Yeah, he already had a plan in place for if Konshu did that. So I think Arthur, in my opinion, even seems more powerful this episode than before, and also his ability to just manipulate almost anybody is even better than I thought before too.
Well, yeah, because he said like when they showed him them all digging, and like the whole sky like changed. He said like everyone keep digging. I'm about to be summoned.
Yeah.
And then obviously Konshu was down there saying his claims, and they're like, okay, summon him. We have to talk to him. And he showed up. I also thought it was interesting that we did get. I mean, I personally just wanted the confirmation that he was a moon, or he served Konshu before, because he mentioned it. But I was like, that could easily just be him trying to manipulate Arthur. Yeah. So like personally, I just like that we did get the confirmation that he did serve him. And I mean, like we said, I think there's a ton of Arthur for the future off this episode, because then at the end you kind of had his, not heart to heart, but him talking to Konshu as Konshu was in that stone thing, like, oh, can you hear me? And he was saying like, my victory is because you broke me so much. Yeah. And it kind of made it more interested on like, it sounds like Konshu drove Arthur to do this. So it's like Konshu is the main one I want to know more about. Is like Khonshu's the bad one. Like I think Arthur was completely broken down by Konshu. Yeah. So like to me, I thought there was a lot of character development for Arthur, because I feel a little bit more for him and want to know more why he's doing what he's doing.
And he also said that like the worst part was like I enjoyed the brutality. I enjoyed harming people. So it makes me even more wonder, like, okay, because we've seen now with Marc, it seems like Marc kind of holds back from what we've previously seen. So, like you said, we want to see more of Konshu. Who is he? Is he someone that we can support? Is he really the good guy in this scenario?
Right. Yeah, Konshu, I guess he's known to be kind of like on both sides, or he just kind of goes about it the wrong way. He's going for
what he wants.
Yeah, he goes about it the wrong way.
That's all he cares about. But you know, I was definitely interested in Arthur in this one, and I'm definitely on his side and Amit's side, because fuck the other gods, they're just stupid. Pay a little bit more attention. And the fact that they have this hidden tomb that they're like, we don't know where it is, but they don't have a third party who knows where it is that they can check up on and be like, hey, this guy's saying he's trying to find Amit. You know where the tomb is. And that person be like, yeah, there's like 50 people digging right outside that tomb. And they're like, oh shit, something's going on. But they're just like, nah, we're just going to fucking hide this thing and move on. Can't be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Arthur, all the way.
It's been done before where like any sort of god, person, or character always seems to be kind of oblivious to like what their attention should be, you know, drawn to. They're very just out there. They're not even paying attention. They're kind of like, yeah, we'll observe, but we're not, you know, gonna actually do anything about it.
Yeah, no, these guys just seem like they're like, maybe that's why it's down to 5, because these 5 are just like, fuck it, you talk too much, just stone them. Who cares, you know?
Yeah.
But it seems like they've done that to a bunch of people, which could potentially be why Amit or Konshu are kind of upset with them and trying to do certain stuff. So they're like, they're just stowing everybody.
They're trying to actually do something about it. They're not just observers. Yeah.
Right.
True.
So.
Yeah, another thing to point out the fact that like we're wondering if Khonshu's like the good guy or not. I mean, he did a sacrifice play for the greater of humanity to try to stop this from happening. So maybe he's like in his redemption arc with Marc from all the bad things that he's done with when he had Arthur. So that could be a potential thing that we might see of, you know, what is his overall goal and why is he kind of changing, it seems like, with Marc.
And he actually worked with Steven, because at the end, that was him and Steven.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. What's funny is that both of them have, like, nicknames for each other. Call him Worm, and Steven calls him the Pigeon.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny at the beginning.
Yeah, no, this episode is definitely the best one. What would you guys rate this one?
Oh, this is a solid 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I was thinking probably like 9. Right around there.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I was gonna go a 9 out of 10 too, just because I mean, there wasn't really a dull moment at all. It was all needed, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Because from what I've heard, the people that got to see the first 4 episodes, they said that number 4 is insane, which is just crazy to think about. Because I'm like, damn, really? The fourth one's the one that's crazy. Shit.
Hey, that's a nice change of pace compared to majority of the other shows where you just get a lot of just filler almost and just character development only. So to get finally some more better action in episode 4 would be nice. Another thing that I was kind of thinking with the fact that, you know, we're kind of getting introduced in the MCU, a lot more gods being introduced. It's kind of, you know, setting up the new Thor movie with Gore the God Butcher. So maybe he's going to be better. It might survive more than just one film and die, hopefully. Hopefully he survives.
He better. They cannot mess him up.
You know, I'm just saying, you got a great actor for it. He could be crazy good.
I mean, with Hela, as far as we know, they just one-offed her.
Yeah, and she was a badass character, so...
No reason.
It's kind of what Marvel does. They introduce a character, and they die that same movie. Or
especially with Thor.
Killmonger.
Yeah.
Like, those were good actors, good roles, great villains that they were just, like, one and done, so who knows, but...
I mean, we still haven't got Ultron back, so... He didn't even get done rightly, so...
That's true,
yeah.
But I think that pretty much wraps up this episode. Be sure to leave a like and comment down below your thoughts on episode 3 and what you think could be showing up in episode 4. Make sure to follow along on our TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Be on the lookout for our next video coming out next Tuesday, which will be our top 7 video games of all time. So a little bit different than just movies. And then, of course, next Thursday will be our episode 4 of Moon Knight, which is speculated, like Alex said, to be a huge episode. So be on the lookout for that. And we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.